So, good evening. I think there's two purposes for tonight's episode. And the first purpose is to highlight and, in a sense, promote the company Compassion, which is a charity organization. Actually, it's there we are, Compassion. They're very famous. And
It's headquartered in the United States,
and
right?
they go by they go by Compassion International.
Yes, so he's going to talk about the sponsoring child.
Yeah, how you can sponsor.
Correct.
And basically, I have just one sponsored child, but depending on how wealthy you are, you could have 3 or 4 sponsored children. But the responsibility, of course, increases per child. So basically, for the sweet sum of $38 American, which comes to
Per year or per month?
per month.
Oh, okay.
In the particular country where I am sponsoring my child. Now, I have to say at this point that I say sponsoring my child, but actually that child has parents, and his parents are doing kind of so-so. Maybe they're suffering in some way. And often,
Financially?
of course, financially. And if they don't go to the Compassion School, they won't get any, for instance, Bible education, and they won't get much. Food is a very
It's crucial.
crucial question here.
Yeah.
So, and for instance, I don't wish to show pictures at this point, but for instance, even if you don't sponsor a child directly, in my case, I sponsored the child directly in Burkina Faso. And it was very interesting, the reason why I did this. I was in Gotanda, Japan, and I met a young man from Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And he was, I think he'd just sort of graduated the university. He's about 22, 23. And he came up to me at Gotanda Station, and he said to me, would you donate some money for my school? And he showed me a picture, like a folder of a picture of a school in Burkina Faso in Africa, which is near Togo, which is near Côte d'Azur, of course, near Nigeria.
That's West Coast, huh?
Yeah, West Coast. Very, very, in our terms, poor country, financially speaking. So I was really impressed by this man, and I decided, even though I'm not Christian really, I decided to give a tiny bit of money to him. And he even kept in contact with me.
Wow,
amazing. And that was it. And I decided, and somehow, I can't remember exactly, but I came across Compassion on the internet, and I thought, right, and I spoke to my wife, and I just said, we are going to we don't have our own child, so we're going to sponsor a child. But we sponsored a child who was 4 years old at the time, and now he's 17. And all it costs you is $38 a month. And $38 in Burkina Faso comes to about half a salary. So,
Wow.
if you're getting a reasonable income, it's not a big commitment.
Does he getting that 38 US dollars to be exact, or maybe cutting to half through the middleman? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I think that in this case, it may be not so much the middleman, but the organization has to take a little bit.
How much?
This we don't know, and that's always the case with a charity donation. That is always an issue. We've heard stories about the middleman taking as much as 66%, but in this case, we have received photographs, and I'm not really allowed to show you here, but when we made the first donation, we received the photograph from the family saying, and my wife and I sat in our kitchen and cried. It was just so overwhelming because they had bought this big bag of rice. I mean,
wow.
We'll never forget it. This big bag of rice, and later they buy things like a football or even a bicycle. And even if that's right. Even if you're not sponsoring a child, you can, for instance, purchase, I think, a goat. It sounds funny. Purchase
No,
a
no,
goat.
I understand.
You purchase
Yeah.
a goat.
Because certain countries, some people donate some money for buying a cow, right?
Right, that's it. And that goat or that cow is obviously very, very
Not for food, for farming, you know.
purposes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So you know, I've watched him grow from the age of 4 up until the age of 17,
So you've been sponsoring this gentleman for 13 years?
something like that.
Wow.
But we sponsor tiny. For instance, my belief is a bit that regarding tithing is that maybe up to no more than 10% of your income. But if everybody does the same thing, and I think this is the Compassion International idea, is that you take a small amount of your salary. In our case, my wife and I maybe 6 or 7%, and we spread it between 4 or 5 agencies. But the special joy about Compassion International, which is a bit different, we also with UNICEF, but the difference is that we are directly sponsoring a child, so there is letter communication going on. So whenever you feel like it, these days you can communicate by email,
Wow.
and you can send cards or Christmas cards, and if you're Christian, you can send Christmas messages, and every child at the birthday time gets the same gift amount. So it's like $22 is the gift amount. So it's kind of decided, but they're always looking for somebody to sponsor the next child. And about 6 months ago, we got a letter from one of the priests or pastor,
Okay.
and he said that they had hit the 1 million mark. Maybe it's more than, maybe it's a year ago. And that means that 1 million people through the internet, a lot of them Americans, I reckon, or this is Compassion International from America, 1 million people sponsored a child. Isn't this the way to help?
Yeah.
And you're in contact with that child all the time, and we've had about, over those years, we've had about 40 or 50 mails, snail mail through the post, and a lot of
Okay. Postal mail. Huh?
postal mail
Okay.
and photographs and things like that. And there's also email communication. It's rather difficult because
It is.
I have never been to Burkina Faso
Me
yet,
neither.
and I'm not even sure if that's the best thing to do, because he already has parents. But there's also another thing you can do, is a family gift.
Oh, yeah,
So I do that once or twice a year, like either $100 or up to $500, or if you're rather rich, and some people are, they bought an entire house for $5,000 for a family.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Fantastic. But as long as goes to that family, though, because many volunteer organizations, they've been cheating.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
Even
But-
United Nations cheated some of them. You know?
Exactly. But we feel, due to all the communication that I have received, that at least some of the money is going to that family, because the communication from that particular school anyway keeps coming. And and you're helping. Actually, what's happening is you're not giving the $38 just to the boy. It may be a slightly male-dominated society, we're not dead sure, but you're giving money. Actually, $38 is probably helping the family, and they have like 5 or 6 children. So $38 might be survival money. We're not really sure, but to me, I'm never going to stop, and I'm hoping one day that our sponsored child will be able to come to Japan and actually meet. We can actually meet each other.
Cool.
So
That would be awesome.
So if you're thinking about sponsoring a child, it doesn't have to be Burkina Faso. It can be Thailand,
Philippines,
India,
or-
different places of the world, and it it can be a very young child or.
So can you choose? Pick
Yes.
and choose which country, which destination?
Well, they have
you
the
come-
photographs
Okay.
of them, and it's you just want to cry when you see the photographs online. That, and they got a big heart sign on the photo. There's a big heart sign on the photograph, and you know that child is just dying and waiting for the next sponsor. And if that's you, you are, I mean, you are saving a child, basically. That's what the priest told me. And you, whoever you are out there, you can, I mean, even if you're in a poor situation, helping somebody like that, it's got to come back to you.
Yeah, so before you do that, whether this organization or other, please double check because there's so many frauds.
Do your due diligence
Yes.
on the organization. But
Yes.
as far as
How about you?
Compassion is concerned, we
Yeah.
did a lot of due diligence
I see.
in the beginning. And we are very sure that
Make sure the chairman is not buying brand new Mercedes Benzes or Rolls Royce out of the donation money, though.
well, you could say this about any charity. You can. There's been bad points about UNICEF. Every single organization, you can find the bad points. But
No, I'm telling you, so far, how about Compassion?
so far with Compassion, we've had only good reports and good news.
All right.
And I'm not saying, you know, I am
Please double
personally
check.
religiously, it's another question because I am not, you know, I don't know, I'm not I'm a Buddhist, I'm not a Christian, but it's worth checking out Compassion. So please, if you have a chance, check Compassion and don't hesitate to sponsor a child.
So I'm going to put some information.
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Compassion or Compassion International.
Yes.
Just check them out. I'm sure you're going to be, you'll be very much rewarded. Thank you very much.
Thank you.